My name is Clarke Evans. The title of my presentation is Comparing Heart Disease, Death, and Disparities in Louisiana and Alabama. A little background information. Heart disease is the leading cause of preventable death in the United States for men and women. In particular, is the number one cause of death for African American men and women in the United States. Epidemiological data indicates that racial groups are unequally affected by certain diseases. The CDC defines health disparities as preventable differences in the burden of disease, injury, violence, or opportunities to achieve optimal health that are experienced by socially disadvantaged populations. And of course, a population can be considered socially disadvantaged based on race, gender, income, and even more factors. My goal was to compare Louisiana and Alabama and determine if race, hypertension, poverty are direct indicators of heart disease death in these states. My methods were to use CDC heart disease data to generate maps in ArcGIS and compare the results based on the analysis of these maps. To analyze demographic data associated with these specific geographic locations, and analyze the statistics of hypertension and poverty in Louisiana and Alabama, and I use ArcGIS to generate my maps. On the first map, we see some significant difference. As you can see by my legend, orange indicates a higher number of cases than the yellow, and of course, red indicates even more than orange. So there's limited red on both sides, but as you can see on the black side, which is on the left, there are more cases of heart disease mortality than there are to the right side, which is the white side. Franklin Parish is the only parish that overlaps, which has a population of about 14,000 white Americans and 6,000 black Americans. The next age group, Louisiana heart disease deaths ages 45 through 64. You can see there's a significant difference between the black and the white side. On the black side, there's a significantly greater amount of red, which means there's far more heart disease death cases in Louisiana with that age group. And for the last age group, 65 plus, we see things start to become a little bit more similar. One thing I noticed in particular was there's one green parish on the black side to the left that is orange on the white side to the right. That parish is Cameron Parish, which population-wise has about 9,000 white Americans and about 388 black Americans, which probably explains why that parish is green on the black side. So to look at Alabama, so for black and white 35 plus, the maps look kind of similar, with the exception of the two counties that are red on both. It's two different counties. On the black side, it's Wilcox County, which has about 10,000 blacks and 4,000 whites. On the white side, it is Walker County in Alabama, which has about 65,000 white residents and 4,000 black residents. And for the next age group, which is 45 through 64, we see a bit more of a significant difference in heart disease mortality. There's a lot more red and orange on the map to the left, which is the black map, than on the map to the right, which is the white map. And for the final age group, around 65 plus, we see things start to even out again. On the green side, on the black side, which is to the left, there's one county in particular that I did some research on, Winston County. It's the only green county in the northern half of Alabama on the black side. I've looked up the population of that county, and it has about 24,000 white residents and only 94 black residents, which explains why it's green. I also decided to compare Louisiana and Alabama, their poverty rate. Alabama has about a 15.8% poverty rate, whereas Louisiana is actually one of the highest in the nation, having a 20% poverty rate. However, the poverty maps are pretty similar. In Alabama, we see Jefferson County has one of the highest, probably that highest poverty rate in the state. And in Louisiana, we look at Orleans, Jefferson, and St. Charles parishes, and they have the highest amount of poverty in the state of Louisiana. In conclusion, I do believe that heart disease deaths in Louisiana may have a link to racial disparities, but the data does not necessarily show that hypertension death is linked to race because the numbers pretty much vary across different parishes and demographics. I wasn't able to notice a trend, and I thought that maybe a traditional Southern diet in both states and culture may have influenced these results. And I've listed my sources for my data sets and my research.